So let's talk about this pathway. Another thing that you were passionate about is like E2E and Nexus and the
Hmm.
entrepreneurial world. And
Yep.
you actually, this was not your passion or your thought. You never knew that you would be an owner in this way.
No, I did not. So my path it's not linear. A lot of people say the path to success is never straight, and mine
Hmm.
is something like that. I'm still on that path, but I went to school to be a hospital administrator. So I ventured up to Kansas City to get my master's in hospital administration and was down that path for quite some time. And then I decided I wanted to get back home to Wichita. And when I got home to Wichita, I was still in the healthcare field, working in the insurance world. And then I got introduced to 1 Million Cups. And so I helped launch the 1 Million Cups chapter here in Wichita with a few other folks because I had actually been involved in Kansas City. And so it was one thing that I saw that wasn't in Wichita. And so that kind of sent me on a different trajectory. I was still working in the health insurance industry, but running 1 Million Cups. During that time, EDE was coming into reality here in Wichita. And for those that don't know, EDE is now called Nexus. So those are familiar with that name. EDE was the original name. And so then I got the attention of the folks that were setting up EDE and they said, hey, we're going to be launching this business accelerator. We need somebody to run it. Would you be interested? And I was a little torn because I went to school to be this hospital administrator, work in the healthcare field. And I said, okay, well, what do I need to do? And so thought on it, prayed on it a lot and decided it was what I needed to do because I could put a pause on that career of the healthcare administration path and do something that was very impactful in Wichita. And that's something that I'm always looking for is how do I make an impact in this community? And what are ways to do that? I do that through obviously Leadership Wichita. I do it through being an honorary commander at McConnell Air Force Base through my Rotary Club. So then I jumped on board with EDE and helped launch the business accelerator there. And during that time, I worked with, I believe, 20 different early stage startup companies. And so that was a lot of fun because it introduced me to really what startup culture is, what entrepreneurship is. I did grow up in a family business, so I was familiar with entrepreneurship, but only from the outside looking in. Grandpa used to say this when I was younger, that when I would complain about having to mow lawns or whatever for their properties, there's no child labor laws in family businesses. So,
Yeah.
I didn't know back then I was being instilled into me entrepreneurial values. And so, and that's when at EDE, I fell in love with the idea of ownership, of owning a business, running a business, be innovative, but I'm not that idea guy. Like I've never been the person who can say, oh, I want the latest, greatest mobile app or the latest, greatest, this. I don't know. I don't create that, but I can execute something. I can see something that's been created and say, okay, how do you build a business plan around it? How do you really develop that idea? And that's when my path after ED kind of took a weird turn. I spent some time working in the construction industry. I jumped back into the insurance world again too. But during that time, I was still involved in the startup world because I started Startup Grind in the community. And Startup Grind was an organization through Google that actually brings successful entrepreneurs on the stage, and we do a fireside chat with them. So we've had Scott Redler, we've had Jeff Turner, we had Chase Koch, we had Cheryl Wolford. We've had a number of individuals that have come on stage, and Christina Long, who was actually our moderator through that. And that was a lot of fun doing that. But I was always staying in touch with the entrepreneurial community. And then Orange Theory came into the picture back in 2018 for me. So I actually joined Orange Theory as a member. And so I was looking for a good workout. I was going to the YMCA before that. And so I was looking for something different. And as you know, Ebony, when you go in there, something in your competitive nature just kind of kicks off in Orange Theory.
Yeah.
And that's what brought out of me. I was like, wow, this is awesome. This is invigorating. It's something that I get excited about. And so I was seeing things improve in my fitness level, those sort of things. And so I fell in love with it. And then I took one of my wife's class. So I didn't know who she was before this. And so I actually took one of her classes and I actually got kicked out of the class. So in Orange Theory, it's reservation based. So there's a set number of spots per class. Yeah. So only that many people can be in that class. Well, I was the person who wasn't supposed to be in that class. I didn't reserve a spot. I just showed up and walked in and kind of broke all the rules. Yeah. And so somebody had to be asked to leave, and that was me. And so my wife had to come tell me that I needed to leave class. And so I came back the next class after that and made a joke about it. We laughed a little, became friends, and then we actually started dating. And then I actually proposed to her at Orange Theory.
Proposal. Yeah.
Yeah. Proposed to her in June of 19. Then we were married in August of 19. And then we started the conversations to purchase Orange Theory in October of 19. And then we bought it in January 2020. So yeah, my path has
Wow.
been interesting when I look back on how I've gotten to where I'm at today. And I've only been back in Wichita for close to 7 years now. And it's been a lot of fun. Like I said, this community has blessed me in many, many, many ways.